Joe Wiley.
Joe Wiley.
BBC Radio 2.
Coldplay, it's been our pet sound all this week, played it every day. The track Shiver, you can hear it in just a second. Things you might have missed that I've said about Coldplay this week. They're a four-piece band who all met at UCL. They worked as barmen and cleaners before getting signed, and still probably do it at the weekends. They actually signed their deal aboard 2 rowing boats on the Serpentine in Hyde Park. Why? I guess we'll find out in a minute. They're all aged between 21 or 22, and they like Greek and Roman sculptures.
Oh, God.
That's Chris from Coldplay.
Well, so that there.
You're regretting that?
No, that was an old press release.
Old joke, was it?
Well, it's a joke that went horribly wrong. Because everywhere we go, people ask us about that, expecting us to be sort of professors of wisdom. And we just look a bit embarrassed.
It was just funny at the time. So how are you?
Yeah, very well. I'm at home, actually. I'm just eating cakes and writing thank you letters.
Eating thank you letters for what?
For Christmas, actually.
Christmas? It's February now.
I know. That's what I've been having to apologise at the beginning of each one.
But I'm well impressed that you actually write thank you letters.
I know.
I've never met anyone like you before.
Well, we should actually have people to do it for us now, but we don't.
Well, years' time, it'll all be different.
Exactly.
It'll all change. So why did you sign your deal aboard 2 rowing boats, or did you not at all?
Right, no, we did. That was, I don't know, we were just in an office. It was in the middle of summer, it was really hot.
Yeah.
And we'd always wanted to go rowing on that lake in, London.
Yeah.
So we thought, why not get someone else to pay for it? And sign a deal at the same time.
It's only 50p.
I know. But we were like, we didn't have so much money then.
The sound of a very young Chris Martin and not quite so young me back in 2000 when the album Parachutes was released. The very first time I interviewed Chris, it was Radio 1. I'd heard Shiver, fell in love with the song and made it my pet sound. For me, that song will always be special. But it comes from an album that also featured Trouble, Don't Panic, Spies, Everything's Not Lost and Yellow. In every interview that I did with the band for the first 15 years or so, Chris would always describe them as the 7th greatest soft rock band to come out of the UK, or the 10th, or the 12th, depending on his mood. But the fact is, they, as a band, always stood out, and the songs from Parachutes have stood the test of time, as you will hear. It's a snapshot, this album, of Coldplay at a moment in time, and it's Chris, Guy, Will and Jonny's story to tell. Let's start at the very beginning.
How old were you when you made Parachutes?
Between 19 and 23.
What was going on for you at that time? Where were you living?
In what might be described as a dump, with Jonny and two of our friends, and that's where we rehearsed as well. And we were living in North Camden, London.
Okay, and who was the band?
268 Camden Road. The normal pattern was Jonny and them would go out drinking or whatever, and if I went, I don't really drink, so if I went with them, I would come back after about 10 minutes and we'd start working. Then we'd do that late in the night, and then in the afternoons we would work, all 4 of us. I guess in Jonny's bedroom is where we rehearsed.
And how did that look?
Imagine the shabbiest thing you've ever seen at the Shabby Conference of the Year, and it's too shabby for that.
So have you never drunk very much? I didn't realise that you didn't drink.
I'm not really a great drinker. I don't really do very well on it. I become very depressed or too much. I acknowledge that I can already be quite a strong flavour, and I think that drinking makes it a bit too strong.
Best diluted or not at all. What about the gigs, the early gigs that you did? Because I presume there were shows when you played to pretty much nobody, tiny gigs. Who was driving you to the gigs? Who was that person?
We were basically, in retrospect, we were being looked after by a bunch of speed addicts. So we were being driven at great speeds around the country but I don't want to say his name now. But there were sweet guys that we loved. But I was quite naive, and I'd be like, why is the guy driving us like chomping his teeth on the way back down the motorway, like grinding his teeth, like we'll get there in 10 minutes. We're playing everywhere. Yeah, we were basically living on, like everybody does, living on chocolate milk and ginsters or ginsters, depending on your preference. Those early gigs were great. We were so raw and fresh. We didn't know anything. So it was really good that our label basically let us just go and do these small shows for a year. They didn't force us to do our album straight away after we signed. They let us learn about the studio. We did an EP called the Blue Room EP, and I think we were really trying to find our voice in that time.
And did you feel you found it with Parachutes? Were you happy with the album?
Well, I can't listen to anything with for some reason. I guess because it's the same thing why people can't hear their voice on an answer phone. But I do like playing those songs still, yeah.
Parachutes feels like it was a long time ago. It really does. And it felt like such a sort of big learning experience for us. We didn't really know what we were doing. So luckily we had Ken Nelson to kind of guide us, because we were basically just kids.
What do you remember of him? The guidance that he gave you?
Well, he was just like a beautifully kind presence. You know, he was so reassuring about everything. You know, Chris can be quite up and down about songs and stuff, and he was just steady and calm and kind and incredibly good at making things sound as good as possible, you know.
I remember from my own point of view just feeling a bit very nervous, because you're under such scrutiny in the studio and you can get away with a bit more enthusiasm, I think, when you're playing live. But when you're recording, you really have to know what you're doing. And it was, I was quite clear that I wasn't. My shortcomings as a drummer were under the microscope. That's for sure. I would say we definitely had a sense of the opportunity that we had. I think you always sort of dare to dream a little bit that you might do something really special, and I think I knew that Chris's songs were fabulous, and obviously I had my own doubts about my own ability, but you think about what might happen. But I think the important thing is that we sensed that we had a chance, that we had an opportunity to do something. And so many bands that start out in the way that we did get to a certain point, or never quite get to the point where they get signed, or no one ever says, okay, we're going to pay for you to go and record an album. And we thought, wow, this is obviously incredible. What an amazing opportunity. Let's not waste it.
Bones sinking like stones, all that we fall for. Homes, places we've grown, all of us are done for. And we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful world. Bones sinking like stones, all that we fall for. Places we've grown, all of us are done for. And we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do, yeah, we do. We live in a beautiful
Our main goal was to try and make as good an album as we possibly could, like the albums we grew up listening to, I suppose.
As we were making Parachutes, I was starting to listen to lots of Paul Simon and The Flaming Lips and Mercury Rev and that. And then Jonny was super into the Stone Roses, and of course we were all into Oasis and Pulp, and Will was getting us into folk, and Guy was showing us lots of Motown and everything. But I think you can really hear where we come from in terms of what we were listening to as teenagers. We're still finding our own thing, and our influences are perhaps less diverse, because we didn't have we didn't know so much about music from everywhere.
Of course.
So Shiver is like a Jeff Buckley tribute to me. Anytime I sing it, it's in a way just saying, hey, I really love Jeff Buckley.
So I look in your direction, but you pay me no attention, do you? I know you don't listen to me, 'cause you say you see straight through me, don't you? But on and on, from the moment I wake to the moment I sleep, I'll be there by your side. Just you try and stop me, I'll be waiting in line just to see if you can. Oh, did you want me to change? Well, I changed for good, and I want you to know that you'll always get your way. I wanted to say, don't you shiver? You shiver. Sing it I'll always be waiting for you. So you know how much I need you, but you never even see me, do you? And is this my final chance of getting? But on and on, from the moment I wake to the moment I sleep, I'll be there by your side. Just you try and stop me, I'll be waiting in line just to see if you can, if you can. Oh, did you want me to change? Well, I changed for good, and I want you to know that you'll always get your way. And I wanted to say, don't you shiver? Don't you shiver? Sing it I'll always be waiting for you. Yeah, I'll always be waiting for you. Yeah, I'll always be waiting for you. Yeah, I'll always be waiting for you. For you, I will always be waiting. And it's you I say, but you don't say me. And it's you I hear, so loud and so clear. I sing it loud and clear. And I'll always be waiting for you. So I look in your direction, but you pay me no attention. And you know how much I need you, but you never even see me.
The song Spies was my favourite off that record, and it was again one of those drum parts for me that I found really difficult to to play. I'd written it. You know, I think that was I could write these things, but I couldn't play them particularly well. I think that was quite a lot of the of what I could hear the things in my head, but my hands and feet couldn't kind of perform them properly. And so I think I struggled for a long time with that particular song. There were lots of those kind of feelings in that session where I'd be on my 15th drum take or something, just thinking, oh God, I'm never going to get this. And
how were the rest of the band when you were struggling?
They were very supportive.
Okay.
They were, I think they were understanding. Obviously, I think it was clear by that point that they were better at their instruments than I was at mine, and I just needed to catch up. And so,
hang on, so you weren't a drummer like originally. How did this happen? Just tell me the quick story.
The quick story is of how I became the drummer is that there was no one else left. My flatmate had some drums. We set his drum kit up to record, but he then left and went to the pub, I think. And then there was another guy, our friend called Nav, who's now a spinal surgeon, and then he had to leave as well. And so they said, "Oh, well, can you try? Because there's no one else left." And so that was that.
I awake to find no peace of mind. I said, how do you live as a fugitive down here where I cannot see so clear? I said, what do I know? Show me the right way to go. And the spies came out of the water. And you're feeling so bad, 'cause you know. And the spies hide out in every corner, but you can't touch them, no. 'Cause they're all spies. That no one is free. We're all fugitives. Look at the way we live down here. I cannot sleep from fear, no. I said, which way do I turn? Oh, I forget everything I learned. And the spies came out of the water. So bad, 'cause you know. And the spies hide out in every corner, but you can't touch them, no. 'Cause they're all spies.
My fondest memory of recording was probably the song Sparks. Mainly because it was the one song we basically got in like 2 takes or something, and we just played it all together in a room, and we didn't have any arguments about it. We just played it, and when everybody went, oh yeah, there we go, done. There was no stress.
Just relief.
Yes, exactly. You know, we'd been through the mill recording Yellow at 80 different tempos.
Till I drive you away. I know what you'll say. You say, oh, someone you know. But I promise you this, I'll always look out for you. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Say I say my heart is yours. It's you that I hold on to. Yeah, that's what I do. I know I was wrong, but I won't let you down. Yes, I will. I said, I cried. Yeah, I saw sparks. Yeah, I saw sparks. I saw sparks. Yeah, I saw sparks. Singing out loud.
It was in Rockfield Studios that we recorded Yellow. I remember, we were all standing outside in the courtyard one night. Chris came out with his acoustic guitar and said, "Hey, come and check this out. I've got this new song." It was obvious from kind of the first few bars of him singing it that we had something, that was going to be quite a pivotal moment on the album. Just because it was just such an obvious, great melody, and it was simple, and we recorded it quite quickly. We didn't have to labour over production of it. It just all fell into place. And I think when that, when Yellow came along, it just really solidified everything else on the album. And it allowed us to have those quieter moments, songs like We Never Change.
How do you feel about Yellow now?
I love it. I still love playing it. And it was that song when we played at the Tea in the Park festival, and I think it was King Tut's Wow Wow Tent where we were playing, and Yellow was kind of becoming a hit on the radio at the time. And I remember people when we started playing our set, people were really kind of pushing their way underneath the sides of the tent to get in, which was it was just an amazing moment. That tent was absolutely bulging with people.
God.
And that was the first time where I kind of physically saw, the effect that song was having on the radio.
We were listening to Harvest by Neil Young a fair bit in those days, and he wandered out into the little courtyard outside with an acoustic guitar, and it was a lovely, beautiful, clear sky in the night, and he could see lots of, see the stars above him, and he started singing. He came back in and singing a song in a sort of mock Neil Young voice. We played around for a while, and then it was really Jonny's riff that kind of made it something different and something special.
Our producer Ken said, "Let's go outside for a minute," because we were arguing about something. And he said, "Look at the stars, lads." He definitely said lads. And I thought, that's a really nice phrase. And I was trying to do acoustic and singing on a song called Shiver. And while I was waiting for the tape to roll, I was trying to do a Neil Young impression to make the engineer laugh. And I thought, God, Neil Young would really sound good saying the word stars, because he hits his R's so hard. So I was like, "Look at the stars," like that. And then this song just like pushed through the door. Then I just had to follow it, if you see what I mean.
I'm glad you did.
For you I bleed myself dry.
And the video for Yellow is, I'd imagine it's quite a painful memory for you. It's you walking along the beach, isn't it? And you had to do it on your own. And is this because
was it Will's mum had
Will's
died?
mum's funeral, yes.
Yeah.
It was her funeral, yeah. And of course, if we knew what we knew now, we would have all been there at the funeral. But we were too young. I didn't know anything about death, basically. And so he said, I'll be fine. So I thought, all right, I'll go and do the video then, which I feel bad about. And the video we were supposed to do was completely rained out. We had all these extras and everything. And so at the end of the day, because we had no budget left, we said, okay, let's just quickly walk down the beach and just film it. Just film that walk down the beach. And that was that.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and all the things that you do.
Well, the place that sticks out the most in my mind is Rockfield Studios in Wales, which we recorded chunks of it in, which was the famous Queen recording studio where they recorded Bohemian Rhapsody. There was a studio dog, I think it was a little bulldog, I can't remember his name, that the studio owner had, and he used to walk around with a brick in its mouth, which was quite bizarre. I mean, an actual brick. That stands out in my mind.
There was a dog called Otto who used to eat rocks. He was a Staffordshire Terrier, I think it was. Quite a stocky little chap. He belonged to the resident engineer, whose name I forget, but I think the dog was called Otto, and it would sort of wander into the room, drop a rock on the floor, and then possibly fart, and then leave the studio. So he was a sort of talismanic little staffy.
I remember it being great fun, but I remember it also being quite an intense period of concentration and the feeling that we've been given an opportunity that we had to just make sure we maximised and got the most out of.
Every second that we could, we were recording. I remember some of the sort of outside element, some of the yard. I remember there was a cow. This cow had an amazing kind of mane of bright orange hair. And I think the farmer had rather mischievously named it Carol Decker. Every time I think clearly about it, I can feel myself being transported back into certain rooms and the look at the carpets and what my drum kit looked like at that time. But I also do feel genuinely I can remember the feelings in my body, which is quite a strange thing. And mostly they were kind of nerves. And for me, it was just a real kind of, I'm not sure that I'm good enough to be under this microscope, but fortunately, things went well, and Ken was really supportive, and the other guys in the band were obviously great. So we got through it. But I definitely remember those feelings of nerves for sure.
When we got into that studio, we were kind of pointed the grand piano where Freddie Mercury, laid down the piano track for Bohemian Rhapsody. So that was a great kind of wow moment for us. It's that we felt in a very historical studio.
So I turn to meant to do you harm. They spun a web for me. They spun a web for me. They spun a web for me. In a haze, a stormy haze, I'll be round, I'll be loving you always, always. Here I am and I'll take my time. Here I am and I wait in line always, always.
High Speed feels like one of the earliest songs I think we ever recorded.
Really?
Yeah, that kind of feels like it predates Parachutes, to be honest. But it made its way on there.
Confidence in a high speed. explode when my head stops. We've been living life inside a bubble.
Tell me about the globe on the cover of the album as well.
Okay. We were recording in Liverpool, and I went to WH Smith and bought a globe because I thought it might look nice on the piano. And then we shot an album cover in Blackpool, which we just looked like the ugliest version of Take That you've ever seen. And there's no way we could use that as a cover. We didn't look handsome enough. So, except Guy. The rest of us looked like we'd just, been fired from a pasty factory. So we said, okay, we've got to shoot our own cover. So we bought one of those Kodak, disposable cameras in Sheffield. And we closed our dressing room door and we turned all the lights off. And Guy spanned the globe and I took the picture with the Kodak thing. And then we got it developed the next day. And we thought it would just be something nice for the back cover or something. And then we got the pictures back from Boots. And that was like, okay, let's use that. And that was that.
Was there any thought of styling in the Parachutes days? Was there kind of...
What do you think?
Well, I just wondered.
Well, whatever we're wearing, we're behind it, and we work with someone to design it or customize it. But in those days, we weren't even considering it.
I wanna live life and always be true. And I wanna live life and be good to you. And I wanna fly and never come down. Have friends around. We never changed, we never learned. So I wanna live in a wooden house. We're making more friends would be easy. Oh, and I don't have a soul to say. And I sin every single day. We never changed, do we? We never learned, do we? So I wanna live in a wooden house. We're making more friends to be easy. I wanna live where the sun comes out.
Everything's Not Lost. Well, that was one of the last songs we recorded for that album, and we were recording in. It was a studio. I think it was called Matrix Studios.
Yeah.
And we were in there recording. We were just kind of tying up the album, and I remember it was kind of a strange... Again, it was one of these quite famous and historical studios. I think the Sex Pistols recorded their albums in there or something, and it felt quite special. But I remember we were recording Everything's Not Lost, and these kind of real estate agents started wandering around the studio whilst we were in there because somebody decided to sell it and it was going to get turned into flats. So
Oh no.
we sort of had to get out of the way whilst these property guys kind of came and, measured it up for how much money it was worth.
Oh, too sad.
But that was a song which came, Everything's Not Lost. I think that really kind of was one of the last things we did for that album, and it felt like a great, it just felt like an unexpected and very welcome addition to the album at a time where I think we felt we'd sort of finished it already. And it's quite often the way with, when we finish off albums, something comes along at the last minute to just kind of add an extra dimension to it.
Again, it had a kind of a pattern in it that I found quite difficult, and now it's something that I can play quite well 20 years later. But at the time I was like, oh man, I'm never going to get this. I'm holding people up, I'm costing us money. So I have quite stressful memories of that. So thanks for reminding me.
When I counted up my demons, saw there was one for every day, but with the good ones on my shoulders, I drove the other ones away. So if you ever feel neglected, and if you think that all is lost, well, I'll be counting up my demons, hoping everything's not lost. Drag you down, 'cause if you ever feel neglected, if you think that all is lost, I'll be counting up my demons, hoping everything's not lost. Counting up my demons, hoping everything's not lost. Singing out, everything's not lost. So come on, lost.
We were happy with it.
We had no idea that we made what we'd made, really, when we made the album. The first single, it did okay, but it sort of went in at like number 37. So we didn't imagine that the album would be a massive smash after that.
I mean, you got a Grammy, Best Alternative Music Album at the Grammys in 2002, Best British Album at the Brits in 2001. So it was very, very quick between making that record and then it being in everyone's lives.
It's just been a bit of a whirlwind ever since. I don't think we had a little bit of downtime in 2018, but it's been pretty hectic ever since those days, to be honest.
Looking back on it all, I think I would probably say to myself, prepare yourself for some difficult conversations. Songs will come and go, and fortunes will kind of wax and wane, and but never forget that it's all about the four of you and Phil, and never forget Phil.
I would say to myself, please go and buy some better clothes. And whatever you're thinking of wearing on Glastonbury Festival, I think you should choose again. Maybe call a stylist.
Can I just ask about the family, your family, and the parents, when at this time when you were 22, 23, and you were making this record?
Yeah.
What were they making of what was going on and what you were doing? Can you remember any feedback they gave you?
I think maybe less for Jonny because he's from the north. I think for myself, until Radiohead really, I was like, there's no way that somebody like me can, because I've been obsessed with songs and doing music all night since I was 12 or 13, but I didn't think I could ever do anything with it. Neither did anyone around us. I may as well have said, I'm going to, open a casino on Jupiter. That would be about as realistic. So I think when I said to my dad and my mum, I think I'd like to be in a band, they were like, okay, thinking it was sort of a joke. And I remember playing something to my mum once, and she said, is this you? In a really sweet way. Like, oh, okay, this is really all right.
Now I never meant to do you wrong, but that's what I came here to say. But if I was wrong, then I'm sorry. I don't let it stand in our way. 'Cause my head just aches when I think of the things that I shouldn't have done. But life is for living, we all know, and I don't want to live it alone. Sing and just sing
Thank you very much to Chris Martin from the band who talked to us. Just wait then, a year's time. All this clean living Coldplay at the moment. There'll be pictures like Marilyn Manson in the papers in a year's time, we predict.
Hi, this is Chris from Coldplay saying good night to all the listeners of lovely Joe Wiley's Radio 2 show. Sleep well.